Yeah, it's on the custom live streaming. Ah, there it is. There it is. Look at this. Smash that like. Here we go. We are live. I see us on YouTube. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. We're just running an experiment today. It should be a lot better next week.
No, it's just laughing.
We're gonna set this up so that we live stream for our daily episodes moving forward. They will be set up, so that way we can go to it. But we were kind of experimenting today with the software. So thanks for your patience, and let's just start over in our heads. Welcome to today's episode of Trade the Chain, and thank you for joining us. It is Friday, May 14th, and it's Friday, and that's all that counts. And if anybody noted from yesterday's episode, you will notice that I signed off saying, see you on Monday, because I live on an island, and I thought yesterday was Friday, and so I apologize. But that being said, we actually have a little bit of a more upbeat episode today. Thank goodness. Feeling positive in the markets as far as Bitcoin is concerned. And not only that, we're going to cover one coin that we normally don't cover, which is Ethereum Classic, ticker ETC. That is up over 40%. And, you know, Ryan we've had discussions about this before with the likes of Bitcoin Cash and Ethereum Classic. Ryan has pointed out, like, listen, we have every day, new services coming into the space, like the PayPals and stuff like that, that list these things. And a lot of newbies, they see Ethereum or they see Bitcoin in them and they buy them, and the price, reacts to that. So I don't know. I think he's still on that stance. We'll find out. But Monty and CJ will break down the technicals as much as they can with that. Ryan, take it away, my friend, with the legals and the plugs, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Alex, and a happy Friday to everyone watching. This is just a reminder that all content provided by Trade the Chain and Market Rebellion is strictly for educational and informational purposes only. None of this is investment advice. It should not be construed as such, and you should not be listening to us. Don't do it, man. Trade the Chain is brought to you by TradeTheChain.com, a global community of traders all around the world, because it's global. I do this every week. A global community of traders across 23 time zones, all using AI-driven sentiment indicators and actionable alerts to help them beat the market. If you too want to trade like a crypto insider, head on over to TradeTheChain.com for a trial.
And then moving over to marketrebellion.com/crypto. This is Monty and myself and our community at Market Rebellion. And with us, you get a weekly trade ideas, entries, exits, and stop losses, updates throughout the week, as well as access to our macro portfolio allocations, a pro charting platform, a trading education curriculum, and an elite community of traders all throughout the world, and much more. Very versatile service for you that you can try for the first month for just $1. We're going to be adding courses and making some new improvements as well, so stay tuned to that. We also have a mobile app for iOS users, so we appreciate that, guys. And gentlemen, any words here before we go into TA on Bitcoin?
Of course. And you should just say, like, Alex, so what are you going to interrupt me with now before I go to the big boards? This live thing is pretty cool. I mean, we've done live episodes in the past, obviously, when we've had the big names in crypto on that we've grilled. But this is kind of fun. So I just want to, in real time, say to J.O., nobody really knows what a honey hole is. It's a CJ term that's been made up to represent something on his technical chart, so he'll explain to that. But you should no way be offended, trust me.
And it's exciting because CJ said he may have a potential honey hole mention today. It's been a while. We'd have to go back. What was that? 15K Bitcoin levels last time CJ was talking about a honey hole. So should be a good one today.
Absolutely.
I want to go in and preface this by saying, Monty, is it true you think 47K is the bottom?
I do. And, you know, CJ, people have been asking me a lot, is it going to go lower, especially after they watched yesterday's live stream when we had Rob on, and you were putting the fear of God into people, I think, a little bit, talking about.
I lost sleep overnight. Like, I couldn't sleep. I woke up at 1:30 and couldn't go back. Thanks, CJ.
CJ got scared, and for any of you Trade the Chain members out there, I got Weston temporarily crashing the last few nights in my house here in Puerto Rico, and that poor guy's kept me up all night, just being like, "Oh my God, are we supposed to sell everything? What's CJ talking about?" But
yeah, CJ, think of Alex. Think of Alex next time you start talking with this bearish stuff. He's got to deal with Weston, and that's not ideal. But I do agree that I think 47K is looking like the bottom to me right now. And I want to talk about a few reasons why. So one thing that I highlighted, you know, last week was the formation of this channel for Bitcoin. You know, if you go back to this time and look at other cryptocurrency assets, starting right around this period of time right here, middle of February, this is when ETH started to make that run. And this is when we saw a lot of other altcoins break into new all-time highs. During that period of time, Bitcoin's just been kind of stuck in this range between 64K and 47K. And, you know, we talk a lot about the role of whales and whale accumulation and what that plays in the market cycle. And, you know, when we got that tweet from Elon, we broke right through some pretty critical levels like 55K. But for me, 47K has always been the most critical level of downside support for a few reasons. So like I just mentioned, it's been a historically very strong level of whale accumulation. When we dipped here back in late February, we saw a massive amount of flow of crypto off exchanges into cold storage. And that was likely the whales putting Bitcoin away for the long term. And, you know, we saw a very similar thing just a few weeks ago when we retested this bottom bound. You know, the whales were quick to buy this dip, and we didn't stay in this range for very long. This one did feel a bit different because, you know, we were hanging out up here for quite a while before, you know, before we actually did get that negative news from Elon and Tesla, and we went all the way down. One other thing I wanted to mention was the presence of this right here, which is the 150 period moving average. And I've seen a lot of people talking about this on Twitter because, you know, in previous bull cycles, this has been a very reliable metric. So I want to go back to 2017 and see how this was kind of holding up during our, you know, parabolic rise to new all-time highs of above 17K. So look at this, you know, this feels very similar in a lot of reasons. You know, we're getting a ton of retail speculation into the space, and the moves are volatile like they were then. And as you can see, this 150 period moving average during uptrends acts as very strong support. So, you know, even during some very steep corrections, like as you can see, went here from 1200 all the way down to roughly 900. This has been very solid support. It's typically been a great, you know, just an indication to buy. And I think we're seeing a very similar thing play out with current price action because we are in a similar looking uptrend. It's historically been acting as support, and I think we will get a nice bounce off this level. And, you know, it's looking like we're already getting a bit of a reaction rally here. So, yeah, CJ, I do think 47K is the bottom. But, you know, all it would take is a break and a close below this level to kind of, you know, negate my opinion here. So I'll be watching for that. But for now, I still believe in this channel, and I still believe in this 150 period moving average as some pretty strong support.
So,
Yeah, that's fair. I totally agree with that. And, you know, those points are very valid. What I want to highlight a little bit is the concept of divergences in technical analysis. So a divergence is essentially when we have something in an oscillator, whether it be a CCI, volume, or in this case, the RSI, which is moving opposite of what price is actually doing. So in this particular instance, you can see we had a bearish divergence on the RSI despite the fact that we continued to go up in price. And that essentially gives us a clue that the current momentum that we're seeing in price probably isn't going to last. And so that was an example of a bearish divergence, despite the fact that we kept going up in price. Now we're actually seeing something that is kind of the opposite of that. We're seeing a bullish divergence in the RSI down below here. So we're actually seeing bullish price action come out of the RSI, despite the fact we've fallen so quickly. And Monty, I completely agree with you in the sense that 47 is a very important level. And if we don't hold it, I think we could see some trouble, potentially down to 40K. It's not really highlighted that well. Maybe if I make it a little bit more gold, it'll look like a honey hole. There we go, right there.
There's the honey hole.
But this is kind of like the start of a potential descending triangle, in the sense that we could come up and have a bullish continuation, a bounce from support, test the resistance level that is now the moving average, and get rejected again. If we do that, I think that's pretty bearish for the overall trend. It leads us down towards this apex of the descending triangle before kind of a close and drop further before we actually do come up. So in the short term, like the next couple days, I do think we're going to have a reaction rally here and probably go back up and test that moving average. But as for the longer term trend, it's going to be very important whether or not we can get above this, because if we create another lower high right here for the overall macro trend, it increases the likelihood of us going back into this golden channel below, which would be relatively ideal for further accumulation. So, I do think we do share a lot of current views.
Yeah. I also want to add to that real quick. I want to share my screen here to, you're finding positivity in the jungle here through the trees, but you take a look at Bitcoin on the Trade the Chain coin screener page, you see sentiment is very bearish. And even if you click through to the sentiment to price overlay here, you look at the 7-day, and we're just in a red pit of bearishness from a sentiment point of view. So, you're saying, CJ, that we're just going to go down to 47. That's what our bottom's going to be. I mean, what happens if Elon tweets again or something?
So I have something that could be a bit bullish for Bitcoin, right? There were a lot of options traders and market makers who were heavily short puts in the range of about 50 to 52K, according to an article on CoinDesk. So what they had to do was sell off to limit their downside exposure or gamma, and that kind of exacerbated the rally, according to the expert, quoted in the story, something along the lines of 2,900 Bitcoin, right? So unwinding that position and driving Bitcoin down a bit to do so, in the absence of another large accumulation of those types of puts or any other short exposure, it seems to make sense that Bitcoin is primed to move higher over the weekend. I feel like if that many traders aren't taking short bets anymore, and there's no other real reason for Bitcoin to move down in a dramatic fashion like it has earlier this week, I don't think, even in the past when Elon tweeted about it or other people tweeted about it, the market doesn't care about MicroStrategy anymore. It doesn't really care about a lot of other people that it used to react quite heavily to. So I don't see the downside. And even if it does move down, there is a glimmer of hope. Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust is at a 21% discount to the price of Bitcoin right now. So even if you are afraid of Bitcoin going down, if you buy into Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust, you still get that discount that insulates you against a move downward, and you can ride the recovery higher that way too. So I mean, there's a lot of other ways to make money in this market other than worrying about just what Bitcoin does in the next couple of days.
Well, there's an interesting thing. So Grayscale it's a 6-month commit, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what makes an interesting bet, Ryan. So we've always known about the overinflated premium on the Grayscale Trust product with Bitcoin, but you know, and a lot of institutional corporates used it just because, listen, it just provided a hedge to a certain degree, or they were actually making arbitrage alpha on the premium. But here's the thing that presents itself now. How successful do you think GBTC is going to be when it's negative so much, and you're betting that, you know, everybody, you know, all these people are wrong that are saying Bitcoin's going to $150,000, $250,000, right? It's almost like, do you take that bet for the 6-month term, or don't you?
I think if you're buying into GBTC now, you're betting on the likelihood of whether or not it turns into an ETF. Because as this person said, and which I would agree with, if it turns into an ETF, I mean, in relatively short order, I mean, the NAV would probably recover to par value with Bitcoin, because the inflows to capital and other activity around the fund would just kind of force it to do so. So you'd be able to realize that premium, that appreciation to parity, while also being able to write up any potential long-term gains in Bitcoin, even if it only goes up to say 70 or 80K. You're still making a significant amount of profit there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, love the way people are throwing around MATIC in the chat. It's been hot. I like it. What are we going to? We got here. You know what I'm going to do? We're live. I don't care. I'm just going to do this because I want to. And I'm just going to show everybody the MATIC sentiment chart on the 7-day. So here it is, folks. This is what MATIC's looking like right now. A bunch of you in the chat. Obviously, it's had a good run up. The blue line is price. The green and red fields are sentiment to price. So I don't know. I mean, CJ Monty, do you have any off the cuff, without digging into the weed, comments on MATIC real quick?
I've heard a lot of speculation that, you know, MATIC is kind of benefiting from the comments made by Elon Musk because they are a more, you know, green alternative to the blockchain solution. So I know that they got a big bump from that news, but other than that, I'm not too sure. I mean, I know people have believed in MATIC for a long time. It's got solid fundamentals, but I think it just needed a catalyst, and, you know, it got that yesterday with people kind of selling off Bitcoin and looking elsewhere for other solutions. MATIC is where a lot of people landed, I think.
All right.
One thing that Nick, our community chief community officer and research analyst, pointed out, Alex, if you could bring that chart back up again.
Sure.
Earlier today, Nick was talking about identifying opportunities to trade based off of sentiment, and he noticed that most of the time, whenever the sentiment crosses that median line, price starts to appreciate. So if you look on May 13th, right when sentiment crossed over briefly, the price began, you know, its move higher to the point that it's now up, well about what, 100% in 24 hours, give or take. So I think that's something that Trade the Chain users should be on the lookout for. Whenever sentiment crosses the line, if you go back to May 11th too, you'll see how sentiment crossed over the line and MATIC moved higher. Again, on May 8th, sentiment crosses over the line, MATIC moves higher. So something to keep in mind when you're looking at the sentiment price overlay chart is that if you're trying to identify opportunities where you haven't yet seen appreciation in price, one way to look at it might be to look at when an asset crosses over that sentiment line. That could be an opportunity.
You know, one of the things that was brought to my attention during this live stream too is that, you know, a reason for CJ's bearishness might be because he's hangry. We don't let him eat. A lot of people are attributing the delayed DoorDash delivery yesterday to his bearish sentiment on the show. I'm not sure that I can very much disagree to that either.
The panda.
You do not want to come between CJ and his panda. It is last choice.
I mean, guys, I'm long. Like, I'm not. I don't want price to go below. Like, I'm just trying to look at it practically. And like, let me just go back to the chart and, you know, because I think I'm giving people the wrong idea in a certain sense, because like if we can get back above this prior lower high, I am more than willing to get back upon the bull train and, you know, look to go to 60 or 70K. But when you put in a critical macro lower high here, that's a warning sign. And especially when you start seeing this moving average flip from support to resistance. So, you know, it's not an emotional thing. It's just charts. I mean, I don't know.
It's not. No, people are so emotionally invested in projects that when you say something negatively about it, they immediately assume that you're just dumping on it. And, you know, sometimes it just, like we were saying yesterday, number can't always go up. I mean, it has to sometimes go sideways or down, or else it's not a healthy, orderly market. And
Monty, let's talk about Ethereum Classic, up 40% through all this mess. ETC has never been a horse many people have laid their bets on, but it seems to be coming out a pretty clear winner during these markets.
Yeah, Alex, that is very true. I'll start by pulling up the data from Trade the Chain because, you know, this did kind of lead the charge. The daily sentiment was a lot higher this morning, but as you can see, the long-term sentiment is still very bullish. You know, and this is one that, just look at this run it's been on. In the same period of time that ETH has been making a run, obviously, I think that a lot of people have been looking to Ethereum Classic as, you know, a step removed from ETH, almost a cheaper alternative. And the price action has been very comparable so far. One thing that is really interesting here at the current price action is the strength it's shown, like you said, Alex, in the recent days. So it was looking like, you know, a bit toppish here at around the 140 level. And that's why it's really reassuring to see that buyers stepped in even around this $80 level, putting us back above $100. One thing I will say is I will just heed a little bit of caution if you're looking to enter this today, because if you go a little bit closer and look at the 4-hour chart, it's coming up on some pretty critical resistance. So I think that, and you know, that in conjunction with the fact that the daily and hourly sentiment have really cooled off in the last couple of hours, I think that may be an indication that we're going to hit some resistance here at this level. So, you know, take a look here. I talk all the time about the potential of role reversals. When a level acts as support, it also has the potential to act as resistance and vice versa. As you can see, this level right here of approximately $112 acted as very strong support when we were coming down from our initial high. And because of that, you know, I now expect it to act as equally strong resistance, kind of like we saw it act here just a couple of days ago. So we're pressing up against this level now. It's a very strong resistance level historically, based on the fact that it's been very strong support as well. So I don't think we'll have this momentum because the sentiment's dying down, because the volume is dying down a bit. But I mean, overall, it's been very reassuring for Ethereum Classic that people were willing to step in this low and buy, got some nice volume, got this bullish engulfing candle, and went back above $100. But like I said, I'm expecting a little bit of resistance here. But if it does break above this level, watch closely for a break and a close above roughly $110. Because if it does break above this level, I think it's well postured to break through its all-time high and just continue climbing. So, you know, despite the fact that it's looking a bit, you know, interim toppish, I still think that if it gets above this level, Ethereum Classic could continue to make a very impressive run.
So it's,
Go ahead. Sorry.
what's weird about this rally is that there's nothing behind it. Nothing has happened with Ethereum Classic. There's been no positive news, no development activity of note. There hasn't been anything really fundamental driving this. And a lot of the sentiment around it is that it is basically just retail speculation, similar to what happened with Doge, right? And it's just uninformed traders looking to make the next bet on an asset that they think is going to move higher. And when you have it supported by all these retail on-ramps that it wasn't previously supported on, and then you have people who are just looking for the next Dogecoin, that's how an asset like Ethereum Classic fires upward like this.
All right. Well, Liz Kuka, head of Ethereum Classic, friend of the channel. Maybe we got to get her on. Maybe Ryan and her have a conversation about this. I know Ryan can't wait till get on Michael Saylor, so maybe I'll get him on the show.
Would love that too.
What else do we have going on that's pretty much an outlier? Because I got to be honest with you today, I am feeling a little bit more warm and fuzzy than I have been all week, and that's a relief because the week's been tough, for us, for all the folks out there and stuff like that. But anything else that comes to mind that's jumping out that you guys want to talk about?
I just think Monty made a good point yesterday, saying that, this is just a really news exhausted week. I think you actually might have said that this morning, but, if we get any news today, I don't see it having a big impact on price negatively. I know that Square said, or they had some type of announcement that they weren't gonna, or they didn't have any plans to buy any Bitcoin anytime soon. Obviously that doesn't really help the cause, but I just think any news that we talk about is going to be somewhat repressed due to the massive news cycle that we had this week.
Why are companies announcing that they don't plan to buy Bitcoin? What's the point of that?
Is it
That's
just
absolutely infuriating. Who cares if you're not buying Bitcoin? Just shut up. Like, why does it matter? Right? If you buy Bitcoin, that should be a disclosure if you're a publicly traded company. But if you're not buying it, why does what you have to say about it matter? Unless you give reasoning for it, and there's like a fundamental reason, like you found a problem in the blockchain or something. Like, why? Why would you do that?
Because
And it's weird because no, it's just
so
weird because Jack Dorsey's going to be speaking at Bitcoin 2021 in 2 weeks, and he goes out of his way to make sure his company says, "Oh, we're not going to buy Bitcoin." Why? Why are you doing that? Come on, man.
Oh God, Octavian, we just spoke about MATIC a little while ago and showed some charts on it. So definitely hit the rewind button when you get a second. Marky loves you, Ryan. Marky is one of the great TPC ambassadors.
Someone has to. The rest of the viewers hate me.
Number one fan, Ryan. We found him. It's Marky.
Yes, president of my fan club.
I'm excited. I'm excited for Bitcoin 2021. Folks, that's June 4th and 5th, I believe, or is it 5th and 6th? I have 4th and 5th.
4th and 5th, yes.
Yeah,
Friday
yeah.
and Saturday in Miami.
Yeah, 100%. TTC 10, is that our code?
TTC 10, 10% discount to all of our viewers and community members.
TTC 10, if you're hopping over there. I don't even know, it might be sold out at this point.
I think it might be sold out, but if there are tickets available, that's the code to use for a discount. Yep.
And another sold out conference this year is the Market Rebellion Trading Conference out in Las Vegas. Ooh. It's like not a seat in the house left for it, and that's all the way in October. So
we do have a virtual option if you want to attend digitally. We are working on that. So
excellent. I might have to take you up on that.
Very cool.
Are you going to be in Las Vegas that weekend? I know Alex is.
There's details that need to be negotiated around certain time and places and things like that.
Yes. Yeah.
So we'll see. All right. I think that's it pretty much. I mean, it's been a good weekend. If you guys could hit the smash like on your way out the door, that'd be great. But also, thanks for putting up with us at 2 whatever time in Eastern right now. We were experimenting with setting the live function, and come next week, it's going to be preset, and we're going to be spot on. It'll be like Bloomberg TV around here. Not never. But we'll be more organized than we were today. So thank you for letting us experiment with this whole YouTube thing. Go have your orange chicken, Panda Express, highly endorsed by CJ. And that's about it. So folks, thank you. Hang on to your handlebars. Don't get in the honey holes. And yes, I need to experiment with my sound better. I just moved to an island in the Caribbean and the stuff is being shipped. So I will have better microphone and everything shortly. We'll see you on Monday unless something tragic happens over the weekend.